So thank you, ladies, so much for joining us tonight. We have two incredible women on this call tonight. We have Jenn Pike, who's a holistic nutritionist, as well as Josette Puig. Did I pronounce that right?
Puig.
Puig? Okay.
Puig, like
I'm so white, it's not even funny. And she's a fitness instructor from Massachusetts. So I think I'll start, so I kind of designed these calls because I wanted, I got some background noise there. I wanted moms to really kind of tune in and see what we as moms do and how we're fitting this business and the network marketing industry into our day-to-day lives, and how we can do that sometimes very seamlessly. So I'm a mom of four. I have two stepchildren who are 7 and 4. My name is Jenny Little. I'm a senior sales coordinator just north of Toronto. And I have 2-year-old twin boys as well. And I'm a busy mom. I come from education, so I definitely missed my job when I decided to stay home and raise my boys. Them being twins, I just decided it would probably be best for our family that I stay home, and that was a decision that my husband and I made. And about a year in, I kind of felt a little like I had given up a part of myself, because I've always been a really independent person, and I've always really valued working and supporting and relying on myself. And I'm totally independent, and I don't like to depend on people. So about a year in, I really found myself dependent on my husband because my maternity leave dried up, and I was home with the boys. So I found myself at about a year pretty exhausted with the boys. I mean, thought I was eating well, and I was exercising daily and sleeping well. My boys are really great sleepers, so I was really fortunate there. And but I just couldn't get out of bed in the morning without a cup of coffee. And I would bug my husband every morning to make me a cup of coffee, and he would bring it to me to bed. And he started actually leaving the house a lot earlier. It was in June, and he started leaving the house at 6 in the morning. And so there went my coffee in the morning. And I kind of would just lay there and listen to the boys scream every morning. I felt like a terrible mom. I felt like a terrible wife. And I decided to do something about it. And what I did was I bought a coffee machine for my bedroom. And I put that coffee machine on my nightstand, and I could literally roll over and brew myself a cup of coffee and get up. That was my day. And I thought this was a brilliant idea. But when my husband came home, he said, honey, like, you can't rely on coffee. You need to figure this out. And that's when I called a friend of mine who I knew was using the Juice Plus line. I trusted her opinion, Alyssa Harriman. She's a registered nutritionist. And I asked her, is this going to give me more energy? Is this going to do what I need? She goes, well, for me personally, this is my experience, and I trusted her reputation and her opinion. So I ordered the 3 blend capsules right away, and I ordered the Tower Garden because it was such a cool thing to be able to grow your own produce. And I ordered the shakes. And what I found for myself was that within 2 days, I had more energy. And I remember looking at the clock, and it was noon, and that was my scheduled second cup of coffee, and I didn't need it. And I would have a coffee at 7, a coffee at noon, a coffee at 2, sleep around 4, coffee to get up from that nap, and usually a coffee after bed. So I was drinking about 4 or 5 cups of coffee, after dinner, 4 or 5 cups of coffee a day. And when I looked at the cost of a K-cup, they're around 75 cents to $1. So we're looking at roughly $3 to $4 a day just in coffee. And I replaced that with my Juice Plus capsules, and that was the best decision I've ever made. And I honestly didn't look at this as a business opportunity. And I started just sharing naturally. I only joined the company because it was $50, and there was no obligations, and there was no quotas, and there was none of these sticky situations you find yourself in with some companies. And I really like that. I like the non-committal part. But when I started just getting more active and feeling better, and my posts on Facebook and on social media changed to more positive because my mood was so much better, I grabbed the attention of a couple of my friends, and they were interested, and they joined. And within the first 5 weeks, I reached sales coordinator in our company, and I got just under $2,000 just in bonuses. And I thought, wow, this is pretty cool. So the past year, I started last June, June 2014, and in the last year and a half, I've been able to replace my income from my previous job. And I get to do it with my boys, waking up when I want to wake up, which is the best thing because I'm a sleeper. So I love that I can get up at 8 a.m. every morning, and I don't have to get up and get dressed and go to a job. I get to spend the day with my kids, my dogs, and I get to be home, and I get to run my home and run my business the way I want. And I'm really fortunate that Juice Plus has given me that opportunity to do that. And not only that, but just feeling great because I have this product in me that is making me feel like super mom and making us so healthy. And my mission in this is just to really help other women who are in a similar situation, who feel like they're dependent on family members or a husband or a man or a job that they absolutely hate, that they can design their own lives and that they can do this. And it's not always going to be easy. Sometimes it's hard, but you know what? I know when I brought those boys home, most mothers couldn't imagine bringing 2 newborns home. And I did that because I didn't have a choice. And I treated my business like I don't have a choice and that I have to just work really hard and get through the hard stuff, because at the end of it, there is that, that pot at the end of the rainbow. And that's what I'm working towards. So my previous job, it was great and I loved it because it fulfilled my heart. I was doing something. I worked as an EA with kids with special needs. So every day I felt like I was doing something positively impacting somebody's life. But my paycheck or, my income wasn't exactly a reflection of all the hard work that I did. And in that job, you may get a raise here and there, but my train was only going forward, but it was going around and around and around. I was never further ahead than I was the year previous. And in this job, I can see that train is just climbing a mountain now. Like I can go to the top if I want to, and the possibilities are really endless. And I'm so fortunate for that opportunity. So I'm going to introduce Jenn now. So Jenn, she's a holistic nutritionist. Like I said, she lives about an hour and a bit north of Toronto. And I'll let you kind of go into your story if you just want to share your product and business story and your mission in this.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for having me on tonight. Hi, everyone. So I'm Jenn Pike, and I'm a holistic nutritionist, like Jenny said. I'm also a best-selling author, and I've been in the industry for about 17 years in terms of, exercise and fitness and personal training. And I'm a medical exercise specialist as well. And in the last probably, 12 years, more of that has been focused around the aspect of nutrition and working with people full encompassing in their life. And, supplements were always a big part of that, because going to school, that's what you're really educated on is, yes, it's about whole foods, but then it's, make sure they're getting their multivitamin and they're getting their B vitamin and they're getting, check down the list of all the various supplements. And, for me over the years, about 10 years ago when I was pregnant with my first child, when I was starting to research and take a look at the various, maternity vitamins that were available, there was none of them that I would consider putting in my body. And I went to a colleague of mine who I knew had been using Juice Plus, and I said, look, this is whole food. I can wrap my head around that. If I take this and I add in some other things to help to buffer what I need, would that be healthy enough to support me during my pregnancy? And she said, absolutely. So that's how I got started with the Juice Plus. And that was 10 years ago, but then I was taking it secretly, meaning I wasn't sharing it with any of my clients. I wasn't really telling anybody else what I was doing. And the reason for me to be quite honest is because it was, network marketing. And one of the other aspects of being in school as a nutritionist was that you were, warned not to attach yourself with an MLM company. And so I had this tainted idea of what it was without ever really exploring it. And I let that kind of steer me for the first, almost decade. And fast forward through another child, and I opened up a yoga and Pilates studio and ran that for 5 years and just sold it. And I was teaching more and more workshops and starting to write for publications and write my own book and do television. And in all of that period of time, I started to double up and sometimes triple up on the Juice Plus I was taking for myself. And it created a level of resiliency in me where I wasn't changing anything else. In fact, my schedule got crazier. My sleep became something that was, the thing that I would barter off with myself in order to get more done. I had little kids that were demanding of my time, yet I was still feeling really good. My energy was still up. And so a colleague of mine who had actually got me involved in Juice Plus kept saying, you need to start to do the business. And my answer was always, I'm not interested in the business. I'm too busy. I don't have time. There's too many other things happening. And finally, I gave in and I went to an event that Dr. Mitra Ray was speaking at, and I was really blown away by her talk. And I'm all about, the research and science, and that spoke my language. And so when I was asked to go to the California conference that was happening actually just last April, I said yes, which shocked me because I was convinced I was never going to be part of this business. I was going to take the product, but I was not going to be part of the business. And I went to the conference, and I went there thinking, again, I'm just going to go to hear more of the research, the medical studies, and listen to the doctors. And what really struck me was the stories from the mass variety of people that were there. There were about 7,000 people at that conference, and all different walks of life, all different backgrounds, all different stories, all different big whys. And the thing that really I found amazing was that the majority of the people who were excelling and doing so well in this business were actually not involved in the health and wellness industry at all. They were moms, they were husbands, they were grandmothers, they were, young Gen Y. And I just sat back and thought, this is really possible for anyone. You just have to fully decide what you want to create. So I came home, I started to build a team. I fast tracked to VF, and sat there for a couple of months, and then in October decided to really put some energy around it and went from VF to Senior Sales Coordinator SSC in 30 days. So I jumped over SC and hit SSC, and you know what? Yes, it was work, but it was so much fun. I held 18 events, virtual and in person, between myself and my team. And at the end of it, I got to SSC, and my first check was over $5,000. And that to me was like, pardon? Like the level of energy and classes that I would have had to have taught and private clients I would have had to have taken on to generate that type of income and have that much fun doing it and get to be around incredible people and learn from them as well. I just remember sitting back and just going, that's interesting. I wonder what else I can create. So now I'm in the process of really doing a lot of grooming and developing with my team. The beauty of this company is that it is forever a journey of learning. So I'm trying to still educate myself. And this is my first Zoom call, and I know it's a big popular platform within our company. So it's just, it's so amazing. I say to people all the time, it's a rarity to be able to be part of a company and to attend events and to do things like this where everyone is in a fantastic mood. Everyone has the same mission of wanting to feel better and creating a business and a life and a body that they're passionate about, that they have energy about, and that just feeds back into them. So I'm feeling really fortunate that I got out of my own way and listened to my friend to show up to that conference. So it's, and now, now I share the product with everyone, and the results I'm getting with my clients now versus when I was putting them on, linear approach of supplements has been unbelievable. Energy, digestion, sleep, bowels, just, it honestly really has blown me away. So I'm a lifer now.
That's awesome. So when you joined as a customer 10 years ago, did you sign up with a rep account and just didn't do anything with it?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
Exactly what I did. In fact, I actually, it expired. Like I hadn't done anything with it. So then when I decided that I wanted to start, I had to go in and actually restart it back up because it had been so long.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So you touched on a couple things that I think are really important. So now what do you do? Because I know it's hard. And for me personally, because I don't come from the health industry at all, I find it very intimidating to share this business with professionals in that industry. So how do you handle approaching that with them?
Well, one of the wonderful things about Juice Plus is that there are so many, not just medically, put together research papers and publications, but peer reviewed, which for somebody in my industry specifically, where I've got ties to both the Western allopathic medicinal side and the holistic, to have the peer reviewed studies is really huge. And also the videos. So to be able to have access to the YouTube videos and videos of various talks and conferences and events and be able to share that is another one as well. And I think one of the other things is that sometimes, it's difficult when you're trying to approach somebody that you are connected with and already have a relationship with in the industry. So I will use somebody else within my team or in my upline or higher up and actually facilitate a conversation between them. So I'm still the connector there, but it also slightly removes me from the initial conversation maybe. And the other thing is I've just built a reputation around the integrity of, I don't talk about anything unless I'm full in and 100% believe in it. And that I've done my own level of research because, in my industry, being on TV and writing a book and doing any of that, you might as well just slap your name on everything, because as soon as you attach yourself to a brand or you recommend something, people are going to remember that and they're going to eat it up. So it's really important to make sure that you do your research. And, on the other end of it too, Jenny, sometimes it is harder to be in the industry sharing this product because people expect a lot more from you in terms of the information and the research and all of that, is where, I sit and listen to somebody like yourself, where you're talking about, as a mom and buying a coffee machine and sitting next to your bed and what it was to get up in the morning. And I'm like, for me, that emotionally is probably going to charge somebody more so than me sitting here talking about the ins and outs of the guts.
Mm-hmm. No, it totally makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So now I know that you have the studio, and so you were constantly trading time for money.
Oh,
so
yeah.
What is the difference now with this business? That residual, if you could explain the residual income, like when you made that $5,000 and how much time you'd have had to trade to make that 5,000.
Well, I wasn't making that running the studio because I had overhead. So I was paying for rent, I was paying for staff, I was paying for supplies, and then I was paying in my energy. So I was away from my kids, at night, during the day when they got sick, I had to bring them to the studio with me and like put them in one of the offices with blankets and pillows and that, which is still great that I had the opportunity to do that. But my little guy wasn't feeling so awesome today after a hockey tournament. And so he stayed home and I was able to still work on my business and still generate revenue and an income and still be a mom. I didn't have to pick.
Mm-hmm. So is that what this business means to you then? Not having to make that choice between the two?
Yeah, not having to make the choice between, mommy and, entrepreneur, but it also allows me the ability creatively to continue creating some online programs and platforms that I do without being like, I got to get back to so-and-so, or I have to get, with having the studio and having that location, that space, that was like having a third child. It required just as much attention and time and energy, and it had tantrums and cried and I couldn't understand it and kept me up at night. And it was a wonderful gift. I mean, it opened up the doors for so many things, but this is very different.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much, Jenn, for sharing with us, your journey. And I find a lot of people join this business and they feel like they need to make milestones within 30 days, 60 days. And to hear you that you're like, you know what, I sat back for 10 years and then I decided to work my business, and you're rewarded just the same as if you were to do it. You know what I mean? I think we always get kind of caught up in the, I should have been this rank yesterday kind of idea.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very inspiring to hear that, you know what, you can join this, like you said, with grandmothers, at conference, grandmothers that are walking the stage as national marketing directors. Like anyone can do this at any age.
Yeah.
So it's awesome. Thank you so much. So next, I'm going to introduce Josette. Josette's from Massachusetts. She's a health and fitness professional. And you have an extensive bio. My goodness, I wish I could read it all. But like author, radio personality. I've been following Josette for a while on Facebook, creeping her. She is so full of so much energy, and you cannot look at this woman or talk to this woman without smiling. So she's definitely one of my favorite people in this company. So Josette, would you like to share your product and business story and your mission with all of us?
Yes, thank you for having me. First of all, I really appreciate it. I started, this has all happened to me 12 years ago. I was, getting into the fitness industry. I was overweight my entire life and dealt with depression with each child. I have 4 children. I'm a single mom of 4. And I was married for 18 years, but everything changed back in the year 2010. So just 5 years ago, my life came to, everything changed. So back then I was just teaching aerobics classes just to supplement my manicures and pedicures. And then everything changed and I had to start really making it a business. So I opened up a studio, and it was, I had been forewarned by a good friend of mine who said that would be the quickest way to kill your passion.
Yeah.
I was tied to it, waking up at 3:30 every morning and start teaching or training classes by 5 a.m., working 19-hour days, and with 4 kids at the time that were at 4 different schools, the way the school system is at where I am, and that's 8 times a day at the bus stop. It was kind of really crazy time for me, and I encountered Juice Plus found me almost 6 years ago, and I was a fitness competitor. I was incredibly fit, but incredibly malnourished. And because of it, I had a lot of systemic inflammation, hormonal imbalance. My hair was falling out. My nails were brittle. I felt and looked like shit, pardon my French, but that was pretty much from extreme dieting from the sport of bodybuilding, which is basically just eating fats, carbs, and proteins. You're taking your fruits and vegetables away because they have sugar. And because I have a stubborn physique, I had not had fruits or vegetables really in about 2 years. So when Juice Plus found me and I heard it's fruits and vegetables in a capsule without sugar, I said, jackpot. And it made sense to me. And I took it for myself, but because of the children's health study and for my kids, I said, sure, I'll put them on it without even thinking about how they would benefit from it at the time. And back then my kids were constantly known at the pediatrician's office for double ear infections and strep throat, all 4 of them at the same time. And that happened quite often when I moved to Massachusetts, coming from Miami. So that was one of the first things that I noticed, is that we've been antibiotic free now for 5 years. My 4 kids are severely ADD, and it's like living with 4 Jim Carreys in the house. It's highly entertaining, but very exhausting. And if you know anything about ADD, it's always attached to something else, like OCD or anxiety or depression. And each one has one, and bipolar as well. I have one as well. And they have extremely been able to cut back on their medication, all 4 of them. They're doing fantastic, and just everything just in balance. So when I had my studio working 18, 19 hours a day, I was always in the red. I think 2 months in a row, I took home $400. Everything else went to pay for my overhead, for my instructors. I was starting to use my child support money to take care of my business. And that's when I thought, this is ridiculous. So this was just a little over a year ago, back in October of last year. And I said, this has got to change. And so thank goodness my upline was persistent. And she purposely put herself at a fitness show knowing that I was going to be there to strike up a conversation again. And I said, you know what, we're going to sit down and talk, and let's make it happen. But you have to understand, coming from the bodybuilding world, I had pumped my body with thousands of different supplements. And I knew the harm they did because of what they did to me. And I wanted nothing to do with supplements. And I was trying to stay away as much as possible. And when I started branding myself, I branded myself as Get Josette 5 years ago. I wanted no association with anything that didn't have to do with real food or anything that had to, I wanted to keep everything natural. I'm a natural fitness competitor, and I was just promoting healthy eating, and that was it. And so I wasn't going to slap my name on something, like Jenn said before. I took that seriously about promoting something. And believe me, I was, and I still am, every week asked to endorse something. And my first answer is always, or my first question is always, where's the science? And that's always, I will not do that, because people hire me to get them fit, and that is my job, but my responsibility is to keep them healthy. And Juice Plus gave me that ability. So when I started training fitness competitors, I would automatically put them on Juice Plus, because last thing I wanted to do was create a hormonal imbalance with my fitness competitors. So anyway, a year ago last year, I started, finally I said, okay, let's do this, after sitting on it for 5 years. And I quickly got to sales coordinator. And then back in February, I was able to close down my studio, and I just opened up this smaller studio where I just do personal training and nutrition coaching at the time of my choice. And I now stay in bed till 6 a.m. and my son brings me coffee in bed. And that's so much different than waking up at 3:15, 3:30 in the morning, which is still middle of the night, seriously. Then I made it to senior sales coordinator in April. And then QNMD, qualifying national marketing director, just in October. So it's been a very exciting ride because it's been more than I ever expected it to be. It has given me now the option to do what I do as a hobby and do it with more energy and not that resentment that I was starting to get to that building, that it was just like a jail cell to me. It was like giving me the keys of my jail cell. And that really broke my heart because I love helping people. But the fact of the matter is that this company has given me the ability to help more people and their families, because never could I have ever endorsed a supplement to someone and their family. And that speaks volumes because of my 4 kids and everything that they've been through. I love being able to help not just my client, but their families as well. And to, you know, be able to walk the walk and align myself with a company that of such character and integrity, which is always what I wanted for my name brand. I couldn't ask for anything better. Honestly, I'm just so honored and humbled to be with the Juice Plus company.
Absolutely. You know what? And I loved what you said. You said, I'm hired to get people fit, but in my mind, it's my job to get them healthy. And I love that because there's so many people out there that just are happy with just looking healthy. And we have a product, we have this amazing line that not only makes you look healthy, but because you are healthy, right? So what better? And I saw Jenn smiling because she's like, yes, that's how I was in my studio too. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Right? So how is your future now, looking back to like 5 years ago when you really decided to work the business? What do you see for your future now for you and your 4 kids that you never dreamed of before when you were working that job?
Oh my gosh, being able to pay for their college, you know, that alone. My oldest is already a junior at Mass Art. She's an animation major. And so I've been having to take loans out. And so once I get to National Marketing Director, we have the college tuition plan, which I can't wait to put that into use with the next 3 children that I have still to put through school. And just to be able to do that as a single parent for me is huge. And I even, you know, I never thought that could happen because I put my career on hold 20 years ago when I got married, and I never imagined that, you know, that I could make that kind of money this fast.
Absolutely.
Thought that I was going to have to work my way back again, and it was, you know, that I was
Absolutely.
never going to see that kind of money. And now my paychecks are, you know, redunk, and it's awesome.
And the kind of momentum that you're creating for your children as well. Like, do you find that your kids kind of look to you and they're like, wow, look what mom has been able to accomplish, and they feel limitless? Do you find that with your kids? Like, I follow you, so I see your son and I see your daughter and like the films and the dancing, and I see all of this. It's amazing. Like, your kids are so much fun. I'd love to hang out with you. But honestly, like you're creating their future. Like, you're doing that, and that's amazing, you know, as a single mom.
I think it's important that I'm allowing them to be able to nurture their passions. You know, they're all very talented in the arts, and to be able to help them nurture that is wonderful. And for them to see, first of all, parenting is so much easier when you can walk the walk instead of doing this. And that has allowed, you know, the company and what I'm doing now is, you know, when I sit my kids down and say, this is my plan. And when they see me, you know, put down a mission and I walk the walk, what better example is there as a parent? And then see the kids doing that and they're like, Mom, hey, Mom's doing it. And they're so excited and so supportive whenever I reach each milestone. And every time, you know, I have little post-it notes. I had, when I was going for QNMD, I had I am QNMD all over the house. And now they helped me switch them all to I am NMD. I have thousands of them everywhere, and they're so excited. And it's just great. You know, it's we all have you know, our dream board with trips and stuff like that, and I can't wait to make it happen.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Josette, for coming on tonight and sharing with us. Like, seriously, can anyone not look at this woman and smile? Look how beautiful her smile is. You're incredible. I love you. So we do have 5 minutes left. So if I'm going to unmute everyone. So if anyone has any questions or any compliments or anything that they want to ask Jenn or Josette, you can feel free to do that. Anyone?
I'd like to. Oh. I'll fight you for it. No, go ahead.
Who, me?
You. Rosanna, go ahead.
Awesome. Thanks. Hi. I met Jenn in Nashville. Jenn Pike, I've heard of you.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm finally glad to see you. And Josette, I've been a follower too for a few years. I'm friends with you on Facebook. I remember I sent you a message a few years ago, about how you motivated me. And you're actually the reason that I got into Juice Plus with someone else, because I've been following you. And I've been like you. I'm also a holistic nutritionist, and I'm all about real food and no supplements. But when I saw you start doing Juice Plus, I was like, if she's doing it, then I know this is good. So I was just really happy to hear all three of you talking. It's just always so nice to hear from different people's perspectives. And so I just wanted to thank you. That was such a wonderful call. It's always great to get remotivated and just see how successful you've all become. I just joined this year, but I really just started doing the work after conference. Oh, my daughter wants to say hello. Okay, hurry. And anyways, I'm really excited about the opportunity. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Rosanna.
Awesome.
And congratulations. Rosanna, you just made what, VF, right?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Awesome. Congrats.
Yeah.
Okay, Becky, did you have a question?
I guess my question, hi guys, everybody, super fast. I'm really struggling with building my team. I don't know if I should be super focusing on that so much, but I was just wondering if anybody could give me any advice on that.
Josette, Jenn, do you want to take that?
Keep it simple, dumb it down. I found that initially people felt that they had to be me in order to succeed in this business. That they had to have my background and they had to have my knowledge or my body. And, you know, I heard all sorts of excuses. And honestly, I thought I was really going to struggle with that. And then it really hit me when I went to Q school. I sat there and I had this like light bulb moment. And I thought, like, we're really overthinking this business. We need to keep it simple. Just keep it simple and take the book. And now when I do meetings at friends' homes, I don't stand up and try to impress. I sit down with the book like everybody else, and we go through the book, because you want to keep yourself duplicatable.
Right. Absolutely.
And that's
awesome.
the simplicity of it.
Yeah. And I think you're right, Josette. Like, I think, and Jenn, you touched on this too, that sometimes when you do come from this, massive background of health and education and fitness, that people feel like they have to, I'm not a nutritionist, so I couldn't do that.
Oh yeah. That's what I got all the time when I was starting to build my team. And then, just like Josette said, I had to really, dumb it down and calm it down. And so for me, the company has a proven system of how to, teach and train and develop and move your team through it. And what I would say is use the tools and the resources. I mean, I can tell you every time I go to an event, I'm constantly reminded, go to, mission driven purpose, go to this. And I'm like, right, I haven't been on there in a while. I'm even not using everything to its full capacity, because there's so much that's out there, but also, connect with your team. I mean, this is a great one that I'm going to start to use of mine. I do a lot of in-person with my team and actually sit down and say, okay, your goal is to get to VF, and I will break down point by point for them and actually create an action plan and give it to them in their hands so that they feel like they have, somewhere to kind of start off. And then we just, go back and forth. But I really honestly firmly believe, you do, in order to get to a certain level of success in this company, you can't do it by yourself. You are going to need a team. And the wonderful thing about this business is you can choose your team.
Yeah.
Right. And oftentimes they also choose you too, and you end up getting connected with the best people.
Absolutely. Awesome. And also, Becky, I would suggest if you're working on someone or wanting to share, find somebody that they would identify with. So I know for me, if I want to approach a yoga instructor or fitness instructor, I'll find somebody on my team or sideline that can help so that it's relatable that way. So we do have less than a minute. So I just want to thank everyone again for getting on tonight. I do these every Monday night. I'm probably not going to do it on the 21st. So I think next week we'll do one on Monday. And then after that, I'm going to retire until the new year. So thank you everyone for getting on.
Thank you.
Thank you ladies for coming in tonight. All right.
Thank you.
Bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye.